Well, an industry that is looking up, though, is electric vehicles. To talk more about electric vehicles and what's next for the auto industry, I'd like to welcome Ashwani Gupta, Nissan's Chief Operating Officer. Thank you for joining me today. Now, as we saw a major announcement from Nissan today with investing $500 million to transform your Canton, Mississippi assembly plant to build all new Nissan and Infiniti EV models starting 2025. Talk about this investment and how it fits in with Nissan's longer term vision under Nissan Ambition 2030.
Thank you, Rachel, for having me in this show. This is absolutely in line with our long-term vision when we said that by 2030, 50% of our lineup will be electrified. And we are going to spend $18 billion in next 5 years to prepare this electrification. So the investment of $500 million in Canton is one of the several investments we will do in the United States for having a natural shift towards the electrification.
So then between now and 2030, how will your vehicles build on the existing momentum we're already seeing in things like electrification and vehicle intelligence?
There are three technologies which are going to drive the natural shift. The first is, of course, electrification as cleaner vehicles. The second is autonomous driving for more safer vehicles. And third one is connectivity for more inclusive car and society. And this is where we believe that customer will have a natural shift.
So it's interesting. A lot of people might be wondering why Mississippi? Why that location for this plant? What was the thinking behind that?
That's a great question. Number one, the quality competitiveness. Number two, the cost competitiveness. Number three, with Accelerate Mississippi program, we are going to upscale 2,000 workforce here to adapt to the advanced technology which will be in these two cars, which will be launching in 2025.
So then as you continue this expansion, then what sorts of partnerships or investment is Nissan really exploring as part of its 2030 goal?
So for us, at first, battery technology is the main differentiator, and we would like to have a vertical integration. That's why we decided to invest in the research and development of all solid-state battery. And for sure, America, United States will be part of it. First, we want to have it in-house, and as we move forward, we will be looking for the partnership if it makes business sense.
Now, I want to take a look at some things that you said in your Q3 earnings call. You highlighted that Nissan outperformed the industry in key markets, the US, Japan, China, and Europe, and that was in the face of a lot of steep declines for car makers. But with new car sale information coming out of Europe today saying sales are down 6% in January for Europe, how concerned are you about how challenging this year might be for the industry?
I think we have to take it as opportunity and risk both. I think the opportunity lies between the business transformation which we are doing from volume to value, and there is a high demand from the customers for Nissan products all around the world. Not only the current customers, but also the new customers which are getting into the Nissan. On the other side, the efficiency and effectiveness of the business operations because of the supply constraints has improved significantly, whether we talk about inventories at dealers, whether we talk about flexible supply chain. Having said that, if we get better in the supply chain, I think we are going to progress further. And this supply chain is definitely going to improve, but will not be perfect in the near future.
And as you mentioned, supply chain issues, obviously a lot of pressure coming on things like raw prices for materials like steel, aluminium, rhodium. And then, of course, you have the supply chain shortages for semiconductor chips. We've seen some car companies saying, look, this is going to be affecting our production. What are you seeing in terms of how this might impact your production output as well as the rollout of some of your new vehicles?
I would say in 2021, we had roughly an impact of 15%, which is significant when we talk about customers who wanted to buy Nissan cars. It is improving, but I think still 2022, we will see a gap between supply and demand. So for us, it's very important to align our operations in line with this gap between the supply and demand coming from the supply chain.
Now, I want to talk about something that's it's one of those sort of unspoken things. Like we're seeing a lot of progress in electric vehicles being made, but what about adoption? We're seeing that still relatively low in the US compared to other countries. Norway, in fact, having the highest share of new EV passenger car registrations. So even with petrol prices soaring, though, people don't seem willing to give up their gas guzzlers. So what do you think will be the turning point for mass adoption, and how soon do you think it might be?
That's a great question, Rachel. I think the tipping point will be decided by the customer. And this tipping point is when the electric vehicles will have a parity with the ICE vehicles. What parity means for me is, number one, the driving performance of the electric vehicle at par or better than ICE vehicles, and the total cost of ownership of the electric cars to be better than ICE vehicles. If the tipping point is coming, definitely it will be. United States, we have already seen customers approaching towards the tipping point, and I think more and more we provide those technologies with cost competitiveness, customer will naturally go for it.
All right, well, it's been an absolute pleasure getting your insights today. Ashwani Gupta there, Nissan's Chief Operating Officer. Thank you so much.